5 minutes to do that. And she has taken up 5 minutes. Thank you, Madam. Dr. Alex Otti, this is the second time you are vying for the office of the Governor of Abia State. And you are very committed in this campaign. What is it that is driving you to vie for the office of the governor? Share with us, please, in 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, moderator. Let me also stand on existing protocols. I must thank the JDPC for organizing this. Yes, I ran in 2015, an election that I won, but it was stolen. But I'm not tired. And what I came to do, I have not done. And there is one item that does not exist in my lexicon, and that is giving up. I don't give up. Particularly when, in reason that I came out from the job that I was doing in 2014, have not been addressed. Two things. One is to lift my people, Abia people, from poverty. That is one of the major reasons I'm running. The second one is to bring development to Abia State. Because at the moment, Abia is like a second world country. State. If you Google the worst or the dirtiest state in Nigeria, I didn't say it, but just Google it. And what you see is Abia. So it's a big shame that a lot of us have done very well in different areas of our endeavor, and the state from where we come is lagging behind. The easiest thing to do is to sit back and criticize. But some of us are courageous enough to throw our heart in there too. So the first thing that I'll do is to bring Abia State back to God. And it is very, very critical. The other one, I'm stuck. Why do I say so? When you look at the indices, even though the state has a GDP of about 9 billion, which places it as the 11th GDP of about 9 billion, which places it as the management of the economy.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Samson Oga, you ran a to this session of this event, the question and answer session. May I thank you for your patience and for bearing with us. Well, this is part of the situation we're talking about. And I'm sure the candidates are taking notes of what is going on. Well, I guess that's one of the reasons why they are also running. But having said that, may I remind them that their time is 5 minutes to answer a question. I have just introduced the device to remind them of the time. 1 minute to the time, I will ring a bell like this. And once the time is up, I'll use the microphone. Thank you. Just before the interruption, I was asking Dr. Uchechukwu Oga why he is still running for the office of the governor. Last time he ran a very vibrant campaign and lost out at the primaries. Now he is at it again. He didn't lose at the primaries. He is now a candidate. Dr. Oga, what is motivating you to want to be the governor of Abia?
Good morning, Mr. Moderator. Standing on already existing protocol, the chairman and our bishop, audience, good morning. Well, the compassion and the passion I have for the people is the driving force for a change in our state. As you will know, when we were growing up, the nation Nigeria was well articulated nation. Things were moving in order. In fact, for instance, in the eastern region, by 1966, we were the fastest growing economy in the whole world. And then I sat back to ask myself, what is really going on? My brother has said it. Abia economy is about 9 billion. Government is just 10%, about 100 and something billion. Now, Abia is driven by the private sector. But you can see that most of the private sectors have left Abia state. There are no way you can see people. Most industries have left. They are no longer here. Jobs have been lost by people. People are no longer employed. Most of the government institutions are dead. No jobs. People are suffering. And we need to have a way to come back to revive our people and revive the economy, create a better infrastructure, create employment for the people so that the people of Abia can rejoice. Because if you look at it today, people are like, when you look at people's faces in Abia, you even have pity on it because there seems to be no life. And people over time, when you go everywhere, they'll ask you, you say you are from Abia, how come you have so-so person from Abia, so-so person from Abia, so-so person, how come you people are the last? And you people cannot stand up to challenge the status quo? Like you look at it, people like us that are in private sector, we have no need to come into this. But we've seen that we need to come up so that we can change the narratives that is currently running in Abia. Furthermore, my running for governorship is divine. And that is why I'm in the race again. And I can tell you that when we come into government, there will be a clear difference from the past and the present. Because Abia has all it takes to stand out in the marketplace in our nation, Nigeria, touching the lives and growing the economy and touching the people and making sure that everybody is happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All of you have spoken well, and of lofty things to be done. But starting with you, Dr. Oga, have you ever bothered about the financial implications of what you intend to do? Do you think that it is possible to raise adequate funds for you to execute all these projects, all these ideas you are talking about, when you know that Abia is virtually dependent on federal allocation? Is it possible for you, for Abia, to raise enough funds so that projects can be executed without reliance from federation account? Is it possible?
It's very, very possible. The beauty of it is that I'm coming from the private sector. And there are people out there that have their funds to spend in a viable project. Like I said, the other day I visited Olona Farm Settlement. If we get private sector people,
do you think when you become governor, you will take to ensure that the state generates enough revenue internally so that you don't rely on the federation account?
Thank you. I think the state generates a lot of revenue at the moment. It is true that most of it is not declared because of the process of collection. A lot of the money is collected in cash and is not properly accounted for. So once you bring transparency and competence in terms of management of the economy, some of these things will be dealt with. Yes, at the moment, about 73% of our revenue comes from the federal allocation, but that can be reversed. If you look at the numbers, on an average basis, 4,000 naira is generated from one individual in Abia. If you go to Lagos, it's close to 30,000 naira on the average. So the point is, yes, there may not be enough money for all the things we want to do at once. But once you manage your resources well, and that is where I come in as an economist and a banker, management of the existing resources is critical. When you look at federal allocation, you find that Anambra, Ebonyi, and Enugu receives less than Abia. But what is on the ground does not justify that. Then there are a lot of monies out there in our own Central Bank of Nigeria, Bank of Industry, and elsewhere that we can access. Like my brother said, what is required is that you have a viable proposition. The second one is that you have people driving the state who are trusted, who they believe will not take the money and put in their pockets. I had attracted funds for water projects in this state before, about 2007. At the end of the day, we couldn't access it because the gentleman from the US told me that they did a due diligence and I found that the economy is not transparently managed, and the money had to go to Cross River State, and they used it to put water in places like Obudu and the rest of them. So the point I'm raising is that being in a position where I can influence what happens, being in a position where I know where to get the funds, it is not a problem how to get funds to execute the programs I have in my agenda. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Blessing Nwagba. The plans and the ideas you have shared with us today must be predicated on funds, availability of funds. How do you think you can raise funds for these projects, ideas, and programs you have let us know about this morning? In concrete terms, 5 minutes.
Thank you very much again. My gladness is that raising of funds is not something that is peculiar to Abia State. Many other states, like Lagos State, have raised funds and they have used it to develop their states. There are situations, there are conditions that will be on ground and people will pay their taxes. If in a state you have credible characters managing the state, in a state, you have dependable and responsible characters managing the state. You will have funds, you will be able to generate revenue with which you would develop infrastructure, handle many other things you need to handle for the society or for the electorate, and in turn, they will pay their taxes. Why I say so is because in Lagos, people pay their taxes because they have received or they get the dividends of democracy. Now, I am saying, in Abia State, we are going to have credible revenue collection agency that will collect revenues for the government and not put it in their pockets. Secondly, we are going to revitalize industries, and when we revitalize these industries, they would pay their necessary revenues to government. Again, we are going to develop agriculture. When you develop the agriculture, you create labor, you will find out that people will also, you have enough revenue from that to handle the state's development. So I'm saying that it's not so difficult to generate revenue, but when you have dependable characters, you have procedures that are correct, that are credible, you would, at the end of the day, generate the revenue with which you develop your state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The economy should be elastic enough to create jobs, isn't it? Therefore, may I hear from you, madam? Tell this audience, in practical terms, how you intend to make the economy of Abia State a job-creating one. More so, when you realize that industry managers complain that most of our young people, including university graduates, are not employable.
Yeah, thank you. Employment or job creation is key in every society. What's still in Abia State? Abians are industrious, Abians are ingenious. Give them the necessary facilities, they will produce. Give them the necessary facilities, they will create, job will be created. I talked about SMEs before, SMEs before, small and medium scale industries. They are all over the place in Aba. Give them electricity, give them light, give them security. They will walk around the clock and they will generate the revenue, and you have the government will in turn get her own revenue to drive the state. We have sources. There are organizations, multilateral organizations, multinational organizations, that when they see that a state is credible, that the state has the very basic things you require for development, they will come in and invest their monies in the state. So the government of SDP is going to ensure that you have security to attract investors in Abia State. Encourage the smaller industries to generate their funds, and at the end of the day, Abia will be a better place.
Dr. Alex is everywhere, and many politicians are into this empowerment, providing motorcycles. Is that the kind of employment your government will be embarking on when you become governor?
Very good question. Thank you very much. The economy is key, and understanding and managing the economy is the only way for jobs to be created. From the very simple basic payment of salaries, I had cause 2 years ago to write in the column I maintain in this day, back page, advising governors to pay salaries to exit recession. A lot of them did not understand it, and today they are in deeper mess. Unemployment in Abia State is at 28.3% at the moment, higher than the national average of about 18.8%, higher than Anambra at 13.6%. Why is it so? It's so because the managers of the economy do not understand it. Now, when you do not pay salaries, there's a lot of linkages between salary payment and unemployment, between unemployment and insecurity, between salary payment and poverty, and between salary payments and every other thing in the economy. How does it happen? You don't pay a man his salary for 1 month. You have practically stopped him from spending. And when an economy is in trouble, you need to stimulate it. You need to put money in that economy. And that is the way to get the economy running again. It is called fiscal stimulus. Now, the easiest fiscal stimulus is salary. Because when you pay someone, he's able to buy goods produced by someone, is able to buy goods, pay rent, pay school fees and all that. When you do not pay him for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and 6 months, then you have practically shut down that part of the economy. So the easiest way to create job is not only to pay salaries, but also to put money in the system, even if you have to borrow it. Now, if you put money in the system, in terms of jump-starting industries, today, virtually all the industries that we knew about when we were growing up have voted with their feet. Where is Golden Guinea Breweries? Where is PZ? Where is Modern Ceramics Industries? And a couple of them, they've gone. So when you implement policies that do not create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, where do you expect the jobs to come from? And of course, people can create jobs themselves, and a lot of our people are very, very intelligent. They are creative. But the enabling environment is not there. Even some of them need a little access. Some of them as little as 100,000 naira. Why wouldn't government, instead of using money to pay stakeholders and elders and what I call blood tonic, give them to people who will create jobs in the system? That's one. Then the other one is industrialization. For you to industrialize, the enabling environment is important. And we'll talk about it, I'm sure, as time goes on. Infrastructure is key. You cannot attract industries when you do not have infrastructure. It doesn't. Where people, you go from the value chain, from production to processing to storage, then to export. How are we going to do that? One, we need to provide funding. We need to provide access to people. Today, virtually all the roads in Abia are in terrible shape. Yes, I see all the things that are happening on radio and TV about roads that have been done. But when you go around, you don't see them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Oga, you are in the private sector and you're trying to come into government, to the public sector. What practical ways do you think government under your watch would take to ensure that our teeming young people who are unemployed will get jobs?
Thank you. You know, there is what you call the critical success factors which must be deployed. There is what you call the short-term, the medium-term, and the long-term plans that we have. If you look at it, it is not the responsibility of government to provide jobs, but it's their responsibility to provide an enabling environment for investors to come into the state to invest. Now, we create, in every sector we want to leverage on. First, we look at the critical infrastructure needed to bring all these investors. And once those critical infrastructure is there, then we look at how to get our people. We are going to create jobs in everything we are doing. We are running it like a business, in the essence that it will give job to our people. And from the one, we are going to have a department that is going to be involved in job creation, so that as we are moving on, the first 1 year, we are targeting over 20,000 youth to be employed, because we have created critical factors that will help us to achieve that. Now, both from farming, from reviving dead industries, from bringing new investors into the system, that will help us to revive and create more jobs for our people. Abians are industrious people. Abians are people that are willing to work if given the opportunity. You are aware that even when Golden Guinea was alive, over 10,000 people were employed under Golden Guinea. Today, all of them are unemployed. Ceramics, the same thing. Those are the things we look at. We must relate with best professionals, partner with them. Like I said, people are looking at the credibility of the man at the helm of affairs, willing to bring in their money to invest. And once they trust you, you can see the great change that will happen in Abia within a year, because they know that whatever they trust in Abia will be saved. And like I said, agriculture is going to be done like what Michael Okpara did. They are all commercial. If you go to Olona, you will weep. If you go to Erei, you will weep. You do know that Abia produces cocoa. You will weep. Nobody looks at all these things. We are asking ourselves, where did we get it wrong? Let's go back to the basics and then fine tune and then move on, so that Abia can open up. We create jobs for our people. What if you have a settlement, build over 2-bedroom flats, and get people to live there, working in the farm, paying them salaries, bringing their produce, exporting them? You can imagine the enormous potential that will be there. And somebody is in Olona farm is taking maybe 150 to 100,000, and somebody is in Lagos taking 100,000. The person in Olona will build and even marry a wife before the person in Lagos. So we must create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive in Abia State. Apart from that, the small-scale industries too are very, very key to the growth of the economy of Abia State. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, the action arm of government is the civil service. It is the civil service that executes government policies and programs. You've talked about non-payment of salaries. Ministries are not funded. The civil service and members of the service and public services are crying. How do you intend, Dr. Alex Otti, how do you intend in your government to make the civil service as effective as it should be, such that it can execute government programs and policies? 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. The civil service in Abia is in terrible shape. And when you visit and then compare with what you see elsewhere, you will be very shocked. And what do you expect from people who are not properly funded and who are not receiving their salaries? But when you go to the numbers, you will find that the government spends over 120% of its revenue on recurrent expenditure. That means that whatever they make, both from federal allocation and from internally generated revenue, is supposed to be used to run the government. So there is a very high level of inefficiency if it is not fraud in that, because it is impossible for you to spend 120% of what you realized in recurrent expenditure. But that's a story of another day. In the world of disruptive technology, the world of robotics, the world of 3D engineering, 3D printing, the world of electric vehicles, then we need to think of the kind of reforms that we want to get in the civil service to give us the kind of results that we want to have. So the first thing is to completely reorganize the civil service. You probably need more people than you have. You may not need all the people that you have. I'm not sure. But by the time you introduce technology, then a lot of the inefficiencies will disappear. Then the next thing that I talked about was payment of salaries. And I don't think it's rocket science, because the fact that salaries are not paid is also the reason why there is a very high level of insecurity in the country, in the state. Pareto principle says clearly that 80% of outcomes come from 20% of impute. And I know our people very well. They are very industrious people. They are very ingenious people. They are skilled. The level of insecurity we have in the state, going by the numbers released by the National Bureau of Statistics, about 12,408 cases of crime were reported in Abia State last year, from about 186 that it used to be in 2015. So that means that insecurity has gone up by 3,000%. In Anambra, from 386 to just 1,888. Why is it so? It is so because our people are not gainfully employed. It is because our people do not receive their salaries. Because if they did, and if you're able to create jobs for these people, they wouldn't be available. If you like, import all the arms, bring all the military into Abia State. If you do not deal with the issue of unemployment, you are not going to scratch the surface. I believe that 80% of criminals we have in this state are involuntary criminals. People who are going into crimes because they don't have anything to do. It's just a mere 20% that are criminals by birth. And I believe that if you are dealing with those 20%, then it's easier to deal with than when you are dealing with the entire 12,408 cases that were reported in 2018. Thank you very much.
Dr. Blessing Nwagba, you were once in the civil service. And here you are today trying to vie for the office of the governor. When you become governor, what steps would you take to make the civil service an effective part of government that will ensure that government programs are executed?
Thank you very much. Civil service and motivation. That is one thing that we have to have in mind if you want to have a productive civil service. Yes, I was in the civil service for 5 years and retired voluntarily. I did not see enough motivation then. I did not have enough challenges. I didn't seem to have enough opportunities to add an impact on my society the way I felt I needed to. Then it's true that today civil service are not well paid. They don't receive their salaries. But even then, if you compared the remuneration of a civil servant then and those of others outside the civil service, it wasn't one that would motivate you to continue. So I am saying, when SDP takes over government, we would overhaul the civil service in such a way that they will be motivated to work and be productive. In fact, we shall generate enough revenue in the state to pay the civil servants a minimum wage of 50,000, that you have openness in their services so that people in the state can come there and get whatever information or services they require. Today, you can record that there are many places where you go to, you don't see the civil servants on the seat. Particularly the local government is a very known thing. So I'm saying that it is important that we reorganize the civil service and we motivate them and let them deliver what they're supposed to deliver. Then outside that is that you would see that the civil servants are trained and retrained. They are trained and retrained. These are also ways of motivating them. You also see that those who want to acquire higher educations are encouraged to do that. Previously, you had scholarship for students, you had bursaries for students, so that people whose children were in the civil service and beyond could get such support. All these are ways of motivating them. So in our society, in the government we are going to run, we will see that civil servants are motivated and that they deliver their expected dividends on their seats. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Oga, people will say that there are two different worlds, the public service and the private sector, in terms of handling the personnel and administration. You've been in the private sector, managing your staff, and you are coming into, you intend to become governor. How do you intend to manage the civil service so that they can give you, your government, the best?
Thank you. For you to get the best out of your workers, you must give them the best for them to give you the best. First, you must create a change of mindset for them to understand that it is not business as usual, that everybody has come for us to build a state for the future. They will be part of your planning. They will be part of whatever thing you are doing. You have to carry them along. I know that before now, the civil service, they used to build houses for them. They used to give them benefits that helps them to believe in the government they are serving. Now, we need to go back, and you have to have a listening ear. You have to equally be visiting these people. There are some governors that don't even know where Ministry of Education is. They don't even know where this is. But when they see you as somebody that's interactive, that somebody that feels their pulse, that somebody that believes in them, there is no difference between private sector and public sector, because as far as I'm concerned, it's human beings they are talking to. They are not animals. It's still human beings. It's still money that you are going to talk about. It's not cowries you are going to give. So is that benefit, compassion, the way they see you carrying them along, they will bring out their best. And I believe that when the civil service sees you as somebody who is sincere, they will change their mindset. If you don't tell them to sign papers on jobs not executed, and then they will not sign, they will know that it's no longer business as usual. Then they will key in to work with you. And then apart from that, even if you look at it, take for instance the teachers. When we were young, when you hear that somebody is a miss or a teacher, the way we reverence them, the way we trust and believe in them. But today, you go to people don't, when you go to schools, you don't see teachers. But we are going to APC government is going to bring back that benefit benefits that is being given to these people, that, you know, there is this aura around teachers in the olden days, around people in the federal ministries, around people in the state civil services. There is an aura that when somebody is working, I can remember in those days, if your father, my father worked in the railway, once your father is working in railway, people even respect as if to say you are a lord and master. So we need to go back to all those olden days and then revive and start re-engineer this state so that people can believe in the government, and then we can move forward from there.
I'm coming to you, Dr. Otti. Still in line with the civil and public services. The local government autonomy has been a vexed issue in Nigeria. And there's this belief that the state governments are interfering with the funds of the local government, thereby making it difficult for the local government to perform as the government nearest to the people. Would you support local government autonomy?
Well,
in one word, yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
But I'll add the bet. To the extent that credible elections are going to hold to install the best people as chairmen and councillors. Not the system that we have at the moment where governors appoint their cronies and their thugs as local government chairman or chairman to rig elections for them and to do dirty deals for them. So if we're able to...
Would you as governor ensure that there will be free and fair local government election under you?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I will.
And if your party loses, you will accept it?
Definitely.
And you will not allow the State Independent Electoral Commission to interfere in your favor? Well,
if you check my records, you will know that I don't do those kind of things. But that is by the way. The important thing is that the local government autonomy, I believe that there's an act before the National Assembly trying to excise them from the state. Why they do what they do is because they're able to hijack the joint account. It's called JAC. So they take it into the FAC and spend it and give them little money to run the local government. Now, if you know what the function of the local government is supposed to be, the local government is supposed to be the closest government to people. In the Constitution, the local governments are supposed to run government primary schools. I had written and I asked, just take a look at who your local government chairman is and think of the kind of school that he will run. So it is very critical that we have the right people in those local governments. Primary health care is supposed to be under the local government administration. So if you cut out, like we have in many states, not just Abia, that layer of government, then everything now comes to the state that has not finished grappling with all the difficulties that it has. So, and that is why the local government system has completely collapsed. So salaries are also not being paid. The local government chairmen, like I said, are just giving some stipends to run their offices. But in our administration, we are going to ensure that there is a legislation to that effect and that local government chairmen will be the best that you will find in those local governments and the councillors.
Okay. Dr. Oga, would you support local government autonomy?
Yes. However, the caveat I have is that the system should strengthen controls, that we do not have excesses, whereby when monies are sent to the local government, instead of them using it for the proper use, they will just use it for other things. Because you find out today that the internal control of most governments are not effective. The auditors are not working, they are not active. So I support local government autonomy. However, there must be an institutional control established to watch everybody. That even if a local government chairman does not perform, he should be sent to jail. If he eats the money that belongs to the people, he should be sent to jail. So for me, we need credible people. Sometimes, I'm sorry to say, take a trip around the local government area headquarters we have. And for me, I believe that if I come into government, I'm going to do competition among the local governments. At least I'll be visiting the local government every month to see. Some of them, grasses have grown everywhere. Their roofs are tattered. Some local government officers have not gone to the office since they were created. So they only come for meeting for Jack in Umuahia, and that's the end of it. So if you go, it's a disgrace. So these are government for the people. You need to take this government back to the people through the local government. Most local government should be doing feeder roads. At least if you charge them, how many roads have you done in 1 month as a local government chairman? How many health centers have you built in 1 month? What have you done with all the monies you are receiving? There is no local government that is receiving anything less than 100 million in a month. What have they done with those things? Accountability, that's why I'm talking about institutions that are strong. That people, even if you create the autonomy, they must be accountable to somebody. Thank you.
Yes. Would you, as governor of Abia State,
please, hello, excuse me. Can you stop sharing? Please, you're causing distractions, please. Please. Let us stop whatever we are doing and pay attention. Please, gentlemen. You can do that afterwards. Do not do anything that will cause distractions, please. Hello?
Please, that young man there should be taken away from this place.
That's okay, please.
That young man there, sharing, should be taken away, please.
Please, let's not have such a thing again. No sharing of anything. If anything must be shared, it has to come from JDPC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry for interrupting your submissions. To ask you, as governor of Abia State, would you willingly, at the appropriate time, hold a local government election?
Yes.
And not influencing the election to your advantage?
I hate it with passion. I don't believe in influencing things in life.
Interaction from all the candidates here.
People who are
all right.
ready to do the job. People who are committed to the passion, having the feelings of the people. Not somebody that you make a local government chairman. He lives in Lagos, comes once in a month, share jack, and then leaves. No, you need somebody who has all it takes to run a local government. And I don't need to interfere in anything. Even if somebody from another party wins and the person is credible and we are sure there is no manipulations, credible election, which we will do, whoever that wins becomes the local government chairman.
We take you on that. Your word,
of course,
is your bond.
Of course.
Very well.
Always.
All right, Samson Eze, we have 3 candidates here seated, that of the SDP, that of the All Progressives Congress, and also that of the All Progressive Grand Alliance.
Yes, Michael, before then, I wanted to talk about that little disruption or distraction. We have the 3 candidates seated, that of SDP, APGA, and the APC. The incumbent governor, Victor Okezie Ikpeazu, is not here, but somehow, the supporters of the PDP smuggled some materials into the hall, and they started distributing those leaflets, and it disrupted the peace that is already here. But the organizers have been able to put that into check, and I tell you, it's been a robust interaction from all the candidates here, bearing all the things that they want to do for the government, and the organization has been perfect. And I must give kudos to the Catholic Church, the JSPDC, that is the political arm of the Catholic Church that has put this together. They've been very wonderful in making sure that everything goes on. Like they stated, each candidate is given 10 opportunity, like 10 pass, like you bring in 10 persons, 10 of your supporters or your aides. That is why you can see some people outside, because you must get the tag before you can come into this place.
At this juncture, we will be heading back to the hall where the debate is ongoing, debate organized by the political arm of the Catholic Church. We are live here at Mata Dei Cathedral Church. It's a Catholic church right here in Umuahia, the capital city of Abia State.
And develop their local government. And with that, poverty will be eradicated in that very local government. People will be happy. Job will be created. It is this issue of taking their funds from them that is causing poverty, especially at that level. So I subscribe to that. And I want to say that even women at the local government, there are many who are farmers, there are many who are traders, there are many who are doing small, soft skill programs. Discover these women, because in a world international conference that we attended, we discovered that poverty is far in the rural areas. So attention is now being given to alleviation of poverty of women in the rural areas. And the only way you can do that is to use these monies that should accrue to local government, help these women, give them jobs, give them small little loans if they can, allow them to do their farming, allow them to do their skill, operate in their areas of skill, and they will be better. And once you develop, the woman is empowered in that way, which is what the local government system can do for them, as well as the youth, the society will be developed. The whole family will be developed. Because women, I'm participating to that now, because women have this way of improving on their families, improving on the society. We say empower a woman, you empower the nation. So we must begin to give clear attention to women in our various communities and levels of governance. Thank you.
Very well. Let's go over to education. Dr. Samson Oga, are you bothered that public schools are no longer what they used to be? If you are bothered, what steps would you take to reverse the situation as governor?
Thank you. I'm much bothered since government took away schools from the churches. The entire education system collapsed. The churches has synergy with the education and schools. I went to a Catholic school. Early morning, I can tell you some of the ancient and moderns we used to read in those days, I still have them. I still, read them. They make so much meaning to me. See, the schools, if you look at it today, a child stays with you, let's say 18 years, he leaves your house. In the morning, you come back, maybe by 10, the child has gone to bed. You find out that the biggest place or the greatest place to mold a child is in the school. So schools are left in the hands of people who do not understand that children should be properly educated, properly prim and proper. Children should be properly taken care of. So you find out that our current education has so much declined that you see a woman is selling something in the class. And then he says, you will tell the children, you will put something on the board and you will be selling something in the school. They come to school maybe twice in a month and there they collect salaries. But all these things will we change? Will we partner with the churches to see how we can bring back the glory of the schools, the public schools, back to the original, where what it used to be in the past? Yes.
Dr. Alex Otti, what is your position on this whole issue of reviving public schools and making them as effective as it used to be, that so many people, including very many of us here, attended public schools?
Thank you. I think we must start from the fundamentals. Something is wrong, and we must deal with it. And the society can only be as good as the quality of the people it's producing. So the first thing to do is to return all mission schools back to them. And that is a policy that we will implemented in the first 90 days of our administration. All the mission schools that we are taking from the missions will be returned back to them. It is not rocket science, it's been done elsewhere. Then we will support the missions with subventions on a periodic basis to ensure that the schools will stabilize. Then the next issue is, what do we teach our children? Today, most schools do not teach history, I'm told. And if you don't know your history, you won't know where you are, neither would you know where you are headed. So we are going to look at our curriculum. We'll pay a lot of attention to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Because that is where the world is going. Then we'll also pay a lot of attention to vocational and skill acquisition education. It is very, very critical. Then we will invest heavily in teachers. We have shortage of teachers, so we need to invest in the quality and in the quantity of teachers. And let me just make a point here. When we were young, some of the teachers that taught us were Reverend Fathers. I also went to a Catholic school. And I would like to apologize to the Reverend Fathers here, because I will be calling upon you to do more. So you feed the people on Sunday and other days, and you also feed the children. So I would like to get a lot of the teachers from the clergy, and I believe that they can combine it. We will also pay a lot of attention to equipping the schools. A lot of the schools that we have today do not have laboratories. Some students would pass out from a secondary school and they have never seen a computer in their life. So we are going to have computer lab, we are going to have science laboratory, and we are going to have electronic libraries to support the schools. Then we can now make demands on them. Because to whom much is given, they say, much is expected. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alex Otti. And now to you, madam. The schools, public schools, and the problems associated with them. Are you concerned that public schools are no longer what they used to be? And how do you intend to reverse this trend if you are really concerned?
Thank you again. I am concerned that the public schools are not exactly what they used to be. I am concerned because the quality of persons, the quality of children, the quality of men you have in our society are products. The quality you have of these people is a product, shows the quality of education impacted on them. What does that mean? If people are well taught in their primary, they have very good foundation, primary, secondary, before university, the tertiary, you discover there will be very well educated people with great knowledge, and that knowledge is not out of academics alone. It is also social, it is also religious, and all of that, morals. So I'm saying that it's important we give quality education to our children, and that we revitalize or revive the public schools to the standard that will give us what we are happy to have in our society. First, we need to deal with infrastructure. What are the structures like? What are the buildings like, infrastructure? What are the facilities you have with which you teach these children? You discover that many roofs are out, the seats are not there for the children to sit on. Of course, electricity is far from being there. How would anybody work or learn in an inconducive environment? Now, talk about the material, the teaching aids. The schools don't have teaching aids anymore. A child learns when you have the teaching aids with which you demonstrate whatever you are teaching. You need to provide those in schools. Talk about the teachers who are teaching, the staff. What is their quality? Are they trained? How do you get them? We have to ensure that we train and retrain our teachers so that they will meet up with today's modern standard of education, so that we train our children, or we bring up children who will compete with children from any part of this country. Again, we need to pay our teachers, because those who teach in schools, if they are not paid, of course they cannot teach well. I talked about this motivation earlier. You motivate them by paying them. Like I said, my father used to be a teacher. He was motivated and it impacted. So I would ensure that teachers are paid and that they have job motivation, their self-esteem, is made to increase. So you don't think, oh, because I'm a teacher, I'm looked down on. It didn't used to be like that. We must motivate them and make their self-esteem to rise, and that will of course impact on their job. Give the teachers good environments, give the children good environments, give them teaching materials, give them, pay them their salaries, give them good infrastructure. You discover the quality of education in our society will be better. And again, we will be given scholarship to those who are doing higher education, master's degree, and bursaries to those who are in the first degrees. This will enable our children in Abia to get to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All of you have spoken about infrastructure from the beginning of this session. And that leads us to the issue of fiscal development. What practical steps, Dr. Otti, would you take to ensure that Abia has a master plan? Because as we speak, there is none. Master plans guide fiscal development.
Thank you very much, moderator. This is a very important subject because everything revolves around infrastructure. All our policies that we have articulated will not work if there is no enabling environment. We have designed a new master plan already for the towns of Abia and Umuahia, and we are in the process of developing one for Hafia for starters. There is this saying that failing to plan is planning to fail. We pay a lot of attention to planning, and we are going to be very, very ruthless about keeping to those plans when they are approved. So you wouldn't see a situation where somebody will block the road like it is done somewhere in Umuahia here and put up a building and just block the road. It will not be acceptable under our administration. Now, The next question that somebody may ask is, how do you fund it? Rome was not built in a day. I'm sure that if we had started 20 years ago, we would be looking like the neighboring states of even Ebonyi that started not too long ago, Enugu, Anambra, and even Imo. But we also have a plan as to how to fund this critical infrastructure. There's a lot of donor agencies out there, like we have spoken earlier, who will be more than willing to support infrastructural development in Abia, because they know what Abia is. Abia has the highest collection of skilled and unskilled labor. If you go to Aba, you will understand what I'm talking about. So we have lined up donor agencies. We have also lined up in discussion stage some private sector individuals, both within Nigeria and outside, who as soon as we take over on May 29 this year, they would come in and we will conclude discussions with them. Some of them don't need much. Some of them will invest and collect their money over a period of 10 to 20 years. I know of Renaissance Capital in Russia. When I was in my previous life, we had discussions with them, and they have money. They've deployed a lot of it to countries like Kenya and other East African countries. So our master plan is for the development of Abia State, so that Abia will begin to look like a state. Umuahia, I know Umuahia today, is just a glorified village. As you come, there's refuse all over the place, there is stench all over the place. These things are not rocket science. We have a plan that will deal with all these in stages. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam, do you think we really need a master plan for fiscal development in Abia? And if you think so,
of course,
how do you intend to get it achieved?
Yes, we do need a master plan for fiscal development in Abia State. Abia, I wouldn't really say Abia had no master plan. Abia had a master plan, but I wouldn't think that the state of Abia today, or what we have of that master plan, is still what we should be relying on. We should withdraw that master plan. I have been in government, so I think I know. So I think we should look into what we have, because Abia has expanded. So many, Umuahia has developed developed a lot more. Aba has also developed a lot more. Many areas have been extended. So we need to withdraw that master plan so that you have various sections that are necessary in the development of a state, in the development of a city. You have central business areas, business districts, you have the outskirts of the town, you have industrial areas, you have areas for leisure and all of that. So we need that withdrawal. Why, if you come to Abba had a master plan, but that master plan has been bastardized. So it's going back to what you had and try to see how the plans were bastardized. That is what I think we need to do. Thank you.
Dr. Oga, the issue of master plan, do you think we need one in Abia now?
Yes, we do.
How do you intend to get it done?
If you look at my manifesto, you'll see a detailed plan. There's this saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I can tell you that strategically, I have set up a strategic team before now for the Abia master plan, taking off all the way from Azumini to Umunochi, that cuts across the entire cities. Take for instance Abia and Umuahia alone. Abia on its own. Abia's economy in the 80s was ranking with Taiwan. Today, Abia is nothing to write home about. We will look at Abia and reinvent Abia and bring in the corporate institutions. We bring in to look into Abia so that we can develop Abia based. We have the original master plan and then we have a new master plan. Because there are critical infrastructure you put in a place. Take for instance, there are things you will do in Umuahia today. Every property in Umuahia, the value increases. You find out that most people in Abia cannot even use their houses to borrow money because banks do not believe in any property in Abia because they feel that it's not properly planned. So we have a master plan for Abia. We have a master plan for Umuahia. We have a master plan for Hafia. Then we have a master plan even to the extreme of Umunuch. All these critical master plans are one, they will drive the economy. I keep telling people, see, if you spend 50% of the money received in Abia, there will be economic activities going on in Abia. But we find out that most of the monies generated in Abia is not spent in Abia, so there are no economic activities going there, including non-payment of salaries. So when you see, we're going to plan the city in a way that anybody that comes, take for instance, if you come into Abia as a capital, the person will know that he came to a capital city of a state. Those are the plans that we intend to do. And when we finish Abia, everybody cut across the entire world will come. There are foreign direct investments everywhere. There are donor agencies everywhere. We are discussing with them. Let me shock you. From Azumini to the the big water is 40 nautical miles. I've done it. I've surveyed it. It took Dubai 250 nautical miles to bring ocean to Dubai. So what is 40 nautical miles? Whatever your heart puts to do, that you will achieve. We have a lot and we know how to get the resources to ensure that Abia narrative is changed, that Abia can stand its place in the states of Nigeria, even beyond Nigeria, because we believe that yes, we are number one, not just number one with mouth, but we should be number one in everything, cut across entire developmental strata. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the lady and gentlemen candidates over the SDP, APGA, and APC, who have been talking to us for some hours now, must have made some impressions on the audience, all of us gathered here. It is now time to take a break, and when we return, we'll be taking some questions from the audience. And once again, remember that we're here to discuss issues. We're not here to discuss persons. All our questions must be issue-based. One question at a time. Just mention your name and ask your question. But that will be after this break. Thank you very much.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for you to either use the bathroom, drink water, stretch your feet, and come back and sit down in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. You've been wonderful people.
Right, it is still the Abia State Forum right here at Mata Dei Cathedral Church. This debate is organized by the Abia State, by the Mata Dei, the political arm of the Mata Dei Cathedral Church. Right here, we're live at the Mata Dei Cathedral Church, and we have 3 candidates. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress, that's Dr. Uche Samson Oga, the candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, that's Dr. Alex Otti, and also the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Lady Blessing Nwagba. Up to this moment, we're still expecting the Executive Governor of Abia State, who happens to be the candidate of the People's Democratic Congress. Well, right now, the forum is on break, and it is time to take questions. But before then, we're doing analysis of what has happened so far at the debate. My name is Michael Oni, and right here, I'm here with my colleague, Samson Eze. Samson, it has been good so far.
Well, Michael, it's been very, very engaging, I must tell you. The candidates have bared their minds, and then the organization has been top-notch, I tell you. And it's left for Nigerians to judge them. It's left for Abians to look at what they've presented to them. But then again, we have a senior journalist, Uche Agoru, who is the editor of National Gazette newspapers, and he is joining us on the commentary box here. Uche, what do you make of this kind of forum?
Sam, you can see that the candidates here are giving good accounts of what they intend to present to Abians if given the opportunity to run the state. From what they presented so far, all the candidates who are standing for this debate today are very sound and qualified, to lead the state. And as such, if they are given the opportunity, they will advance the state to another level. The unfortunate is that as of today, it is only one person that will be governor. No matter how you go about it, they have wonderful ideas, but it's only one person that will be the governor at the end of the day. And but all the points that are presented here today, with implementation plans on how to go about it, are all wonderful ideas. And I think Abia is in for a good time if any of them is given the opportunity this time around.
It's been so far good right here. You just heard the voice of Uche Agoru, and in the coming minutes after the break, when we return to the hall, it will be time for questions from participants, especially those in the hall. I do have here another journalist, Casey is right here also. Casey, well, what have you noticed so far monitoring this forum, the Abia State Forum, organized by the Catholic Church, Mata Dei Cathedral Church?
Thank you, Michael. I will first of all say the atmosphere and the way it's organized. The atmosphere is very calm. Security is tight, it's in order, and the response from the contestants, the candidates, is far good and very, very interesting. If you look at the positive questions that were also asked, the questions are questions that will be actually in the minds of Abians. They responded in a way that one will begin to say, yes, these people, they are actually ready to take over the position to be the number one citizen of Abia State. And we expect to see more of that, and we hope that anyone that actually finally gets it, the person should also put it in action.
All right, I think we should talk to one of the numerous participants of this debate. Sir, can we meet you? What's your name?
My name is Prince Clinton Oba.
Okay, you're here witnessing one of the debates that will be done in Abia State. This one is organized by the Catholic Church. What have you noticed so far?
Yeah, well, it's an opportunity for all the candidates that are present here today to tell Abians their manifesto and what they intend to do when given the opportunity to rule the state. So far, it's been an intellectual discourse, very fine. For the first time, a lot of Abians all the candidates are coming together, for one purpose, for each of them to say their manifestos, and it's been wonderful.
What do you make of the absence of the governor?
Well, it should have been an opportunity for the governor to also come and say what he has done for Abians and what he intends to do again if he's re-elected. But since he's not here, I wouldn't know his reasons. So he has missed an opportunity, to tell Abians what he has done in the past and what he intends to do if he's re-elected. So for me, it wasn't a nice one. He should have seized the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. Right here, I do have another participant, sir. We're live on radio. We want to ask you, as one of the participants of this forum, tell me what's your name and what you've noticed so far.
Yeah, I am Sir Andrew Ubiano. I noticed that in the first instance that PDP is completely absent from this discussion. And their absence means a lot to Abia. It means a lot to Abia. We have three parties there, and those parties are SDP, APGA, and what do you call the other party? APC. The candidates are telling us what they will do. I think the APGA candidate is on top of the issue. I think that so much because he understands the state and he knows he has a very well planned scheme for the state. Let's pray that he gets in there, and what we want is that Abia goes away from PDP. That's all that we want.
All right, thank you very much for talking to us right here. It's a live radio, and we're live at the Mata Dei Cathedral Church, where there is a forum ongoing, organized for the gubernatorial candidates. We have 3 candidates here. Right now, I can actually see the Commissioner for Information in Abia State, Dr. John Okezie Ikpeazu. You're welcome. It's a live radio. Thank you very much for being here. What do you make of this debate first?
Thank you, Mike. It's a good platform. It's a good opportunity for them to discuss. Unfortunately, the moderator seems to have destroyed the debate as a debate. What he's doing is to prompt the answers, inject his own opinion into what he's doing. Otherwise, it's a good platform, a church platform. So far, I have also seen that the combatants are throwing away validity of facts to the wind. One will expect that if you're citing statistics, you will also mention the source. It's very important. And one more thing is that it is clear that most of those debating don't even know what the governor has done and what he has not done. So clearly what I have seen is that they are misguided in certain statements because they don't know. Otherwise, for instance, there is a master plan in Abia State. Number 2, saying that civil servants are not happy because salaries have not been paid. It's not true. As of today, I
Okezie Ikpeazu, we all expected that at least he would have been here to talk about the things he's done or defend some of these things.
Yeah, the governor was made aware of this debate by 9 a.m. this morning, and he's already outside the state. You remember that we came in from Abuja yesterday. He's gone for a different meeting in Enugu, but he's on his way to this place, and hopefully he will lead this debate, because we have a lot of regards for the Catholic Church, the organizers of this debate. So he's already on his way. He's heading to this location to join others in the debate.
I think he will be here in good time.
I hope he will be here in good time.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, for talking to us. It is still live broadcast right here, Country Flow 94.9 FM. We're live at the debate organized by the Catholic Church, Mata Dei Cathedral. We will be heading back to the hall right now, where event has started after the break. Let's head back to the hall now. Thank you very much, Engineer Divine.
The only ones authorized to stand. They are on duty. Excuse me, sir. They have to cover what is happening. Gentlemen, please, let us comport ourselves in an orderly manner so that we can conclude this event.
Please quote me right. I said the governor sent an appeal. He didn't get information early. He's in Abuja, but he's airborne coming, and we hope he's going to meet us. Whenever he comes, please listen to me very well. Whenever he comes, we wish to appeal for those who have the patience to stay and wait for him. We didn't exclude anybody. And I must say that he's actually from the information I'm getting from him, he's very, very sorry, sincerely sorry that he's not here now at the appropriate time. So don't quote me wrong. Please.
Reverend Father very well. Please, he is begging that you do not misinterpret him or the situation at hand. And those people that have been posting on Facebook are those that I saw sleeping. They just wake up and from there they take off. Biko, do not misinterpret anything. The Reverend Father has said it, and that is how it is. We can now go on. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chinwe. We're going into the second phase of this session. It is time to hear from the audience. We're going to take
All right, you are still very much live here. It is time to take questions from the audience participating in the hall. It is Caritas Nigeria JDPC Umuahia, a Catholic diocese of Abia State, Umuahia rather, Justice Development and Peace Caritas, organizing this Abia Political Forum of Governorship candidates. We have 3 candidates here present. The candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Dr. Alex Otti, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Uche Samson Oga, and the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Lady Blessing Nwagba.
We are going to take questions in this order. One question from Abia diocese that is represented here. One from Okezie diocese. One from the media. Another from the young people. I say it again. One from Abia diocese, one from Okezie diocese, one from the media,
Umuahia.
One from young people,
and Umuahia diocese,
and one from Umuahia diocese. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Umuahia diocese. And that's 5 questions.
Okay, we start with Abia diocese. Abia diocese. Yes, please, Father. Please send him the mic.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mine is a question, just one question. Is it possible?
Nick.
Okay, my name is Father Peter Obinna Umekwe from Abia Diocese. Is it possible to have all the roads leading to the state capital, especially Abia Road? Is it possible to have all of them well done? Because as I was coming, we struggled to get to this place. From here, from the state capital to the express. Is it possible to have the road well tidied up so that you can even close your eyes and you're there? Is it possible? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okezie diocese. Okezie diocese. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Reverend Father Jehovah Anthony. Mine is a simple but practical question. to the candidates. I want to hear from them their plan, maybe when they become the governor of Abia State. When they become the governor of Abia State, how they will get in touch with the people of Abia in their various zones, that we have an interactive section that will give them opportunity so that it will be running an all-inclusive government. Thank you very much.
What's the question? Excuse me, I don't know if, did you get the question he asked, Sarah? Okay. Umuahia diocese. Whose hand is up? Okay. No.
Yeah, Reverend Father Benedict Okike from Umuahia. At the beginning of your speeches, especially from the woman, you talk of eradicating poverty. I've looked at that word, poverty and eradication. Jesus fed the people, and there are poor people in the Bible up to now. And the largest economies, like the US and Germany, have not even eradicated poverty. The taxes of those who contribute to feed the poor masses or those who have no job. What are your intentions to do to help eradicate hunger?
Yes, from the youth. Excuse me, some people standing up. I don't know if you are youth. How old are you? Okay, I'll take this one coming. No. Excuse me, give to this young man, this one wearing blue. He's an identified youth.
Thank you very much. My name is Okezie Ikpeazu. I'm the Senate President of Abia State Students Worldwide. I have two questions, particularly as a concerned students. The first question is directed to the candidate of ABC. During the course of his presentation, he said that he's going to partner with the churches to develop education. I want him to highlight more on that. Secondly, I will also want to educate us a little bit. The youth, as a matter of fact, has the highest number of voters in Nigeria, out of which the students makes up 80%. And it's on record that students, registered students, are about 22.3 million students registered to vote. So we are big stakeholders in the polity. Also, the candidate of the SDP mentioned certain things that relate to the students as it concerns scholarship and bursaries. So I want this area to be stressed. How do you intend to give students scholarship and bursary? Because it's not mere saying without action. How do you intend to facilitate scholarship and bursary? And then you look at other states in the federation.
Excuse me, you finished your question.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Now the media. I can represent the media actually.
Don't worry, I will do that.
Okay. No, you are not a journalist.
I am a journalist.
Where? Excuse me now. Wait. What's your medium?
I am the editor-in-chief of the REM News.
Sorry?
The REM News, the REM Newspapers. I am the editor-in-chief.
Excuse me, please. Please, let's not make this look distorted.
This question goes to all the candidates here seated. My name is Uche Agoru. I'm a journalist. This question goes to all the candidates here seated. There is no doubt stating the obvious that the situation in the states today is very terrible. A lot of things are very, 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 very wrong. I want to find out what are the plans of the two of you here seated to improve the situation if given the chance to govern the states? Your answer please must come with some level of implementation plan. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Okay, wait. Excuse me, hold on. Nobody is talking. Wait. Let me know what your grouse is. Some people are doing like this and talking. What is it? Oh yeah, one person say it. Is it a question? No, I want to know why you're murmuring. What's the problem? Excuse me, okay, wait. Let me tell you something. If we do not regulate the questions and streamline them, everybody here will ask questions. And then we will run out of time. Please, gentlemen, let us obey the rules. We said 5 questions, and 5 questions have been asked. Okay, I've been overruled by the coordinator. And then, since the priests took 3 questions, I'm going to give one man, one woman an opportunity to ask. Okay, ma. Excuse me, please. Yes, ma. Give her the microphone. This way.
My Lord the Bishop, the organizers of this debate, my name is Dr. Barrister Carol Dikokorafo. I am a pensioner, and it does appear that we are not being taken care of in this state. I retired as a director, and I have not been paid my gratuity as of today. And the last time I was paid a pension was in 2016. And my question to this candidate is, what plans do you have for the aged, for people who have put in a lot to serve this state, and we are all dying away? A lot of people have died, not receiving anything. What are your plans? Thank you.
Okay. Please, a man. A man. I'm seeing somebody that is looking like a youth also raising. I know you are a man, but a man, you know. That one.
Thank you very much. My Lord Bishop, stand on existing protocol. Engineer Kafor Emmanuel is my name. The lady president of Umuahia diocese. I thank all the candidates that's looking well, but there's one area which has not been touched. Security.
That's still going.
Today, lives and properties are not secured. We talk of agriculture, yes, people will plant, but they may lose it. Please, I would like them to tell us what plans are there to ensure that Abia State will be the best secured state
in the federation. And whatever somebody plants, we reap it and make use of it. Thank you.
No, after the closing prayer. Okay, that's all. Let's now settle down for the candidates to take the questions.
One house, please.
Hello? People moving around, please settle down. Take your seats. If you want to leave, just leave. Please, I want to appeal to the people sitting in the front and second rows. Don't be offended by the gentlemen standing in front of you. We do not have such gadgets as CNN and BBC that they could mount from behind and pick the people in front. Please bear with them. Within a short while, we'll leave here. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the questions. The first was on fixing the roads leading to Umuahia. Yes, ladies first.
Thank you once again. Thank you to our audience. The questions we have received shows that you gave us great attention when we were speaking. First, Father Peter Obina, speaking about the roads leading to the state capital. That was his question. Is it possible to fix or rehabilitate roads that lead to the state capital? And he made mention of Bakala Road. Of course, it is possible to fix these roads. When I gave my value proposition, I said infrastructural development is one of the reasons I am running. And included in infrastructural development is road rehabilitation. There's no gainsaying the fact that if you do not rehabilitate the roads, so many things result from it. First, you have to keep repairing your cars. Second, you will not be able to bring your goods to the center, and many more. And it doesn't give you pleasure as you drive around. It slows down your movement time within it, and every time wasted is money wasted. So we, as the government of SDP, when we get into office, will rehabilitate the roads leading to state capital. We have said that we would generate revenue. We would run a government of credibility. We will run a government of accountability, where the revenue generated will be well accounted for and therefore utilized for the development of our society. So when that is done, people pay their taxes, you generate revenue. You get the federal allocated revenue, you get loans, not loans now, you get monies from international organizations, UNDP, USAID, and all of that. They give support to states. If you utilize all of this creditably, you'll be able to handle such infrastructures in your own city. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Otti.
All right, thank you very much, Father Peter Webwe. The question is rhetoric for me, if you ask me. It is not just the routes that lead into the state capital, but I imagine that why you ask that question is the impression people get when they are coming into our state capital for the first time. And it is not rocket science to build roads. The road you took this morning, the Obakala road, is just 5.4 kilometers. And if you want to build that road, If it is Rochas Okorocha standard, it will cost you about 360 million to do it. If you want to do the Eboin standard or the Obiano standard, it will probably cost you about 480 million to do it, and that's it. So it is not rocket science. It's just because nobody thinks it is important to be done, or maybe nobody prioritizes it. And the reality is that some of these things that we are not doing, we are just shooting ourselves in the foot.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Is my 5 minutes gone?
It's 2 minutes actually.
You didn't tell us.
It's 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, Father. If you look at my manifesto, you can see that my intention is that every entrance to Abia State capital must be beautified to the extent that there will be nightlife in Umuahia. Today, if you enter Umuahia by 8, everybody has gone to sleep. There is no light anywhere. So to build these roads it's not a rocket science like he said. If you look at my master plan, from Imo River to the tower has to be dualized. There's no gainsaying about that. It has to be a super structure that with light, that when you are coming, you know that you are coming to a capital city. The same thing when you are entering from Akwa Ibom. The same thing when you are entering from Old Aba Road. We must make sure that entrances to Umuahia must be super structures. It doesn't cost much. It doesn't take anything for us to beautify that. And from Ofeme to Bakala must be lightened up so that people can know that this is a state capital. Like he said, you don't need to have cars loitering in a state capital. Even during the Christmas, people were staged there for days. They could not pass.
Thank you. I think your time is up. Thank you. The other question was on having an interactive government. Interactive government. I start with Dr. Otti, please.
Thank you. In my manifesto, I had documented that we are going to have town hall meetings in different places at different times. What has happened to leadership in Nigeria is that because a lot of times people who occupy leadership positions are not the people we selected, so they don't feel they are responsible to you. If actually the people that you voted are the ones in leadership, then they will give you an account. So ours is going to be a listening government, a government that will be organizing town hall meetings, that will be involved, that will also have liaison officers in different local governments, even all listen to people, because you learn by listening to people. And because you are accountable to people, you must do their bidding. So it is, in fact, it's unthinkable for a government to run successfully without talking to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, madam. Interactive government.
Yes, it is important to run an inclusive and interactive government because you are holding the mandate of the people. The onus lies on you to relate with them. They can't all come to the government house to talk to you. They can't all go through their commissioners. It is important that when you get into office, just the way you went through and seeking for their votes, just the way you went through and asking them to see you as the governor or one who is qualified to represent them in that status, you should also go around and even thank them first for voting you in. Secondly, you should go around and listen to their problems. Interactive sessions are just key in governance. You must hear them. It's bottom-up approach and up-down approach in government and management. So you must hear them and to enable you understand how they feel their pulses, and impact on them adequately. So I'm going to run an all-inclusive government. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Oga.
Yes, we believe that from the manifesto and what we intend to do is to run a town hall meeting where we're going to have feedbacks. And then apart from town hall meeting, we're going to create a feedback mechanism where whatever we discuss we're going to be sure that these things are getting back to us after the town hall meeting. And what we intend to do is that we want to take this government back to the people. Over time, few people have hijacked the government, but we want to take it back to the people at the grassroots. Ask people, what do you want? You know, sometimes the mistake we make is that, oh, this person needs water, this person needs road. It might not be what they need. So you get to know their needs by interacting with them, and then they will do what they want. And when you do what they want, because it's just like a man who goes to hospital, you are having headache, and they give you more medicine for tummy problem, then there's a problem. So you need to know their problem by way of interaction and feedback mechanism.
Thank you. How can we eradicate hunger? Yes, madam.
Thank you once again. I was quoted as saying I was going to eradicate hunger. Well, you may not eradicate, okay, eradicate hunger, not poverty.
That's the question.
Yes, eradicate hunger. How can we eradicate hunger? Not really poverty. You eradicate hunger by instituting social welfare programs. This you have in many civilized world. You have elderly people, you have the unemployed, you have indigent people. You can institute some social welfare programs, or we are going to institute social welfare programs that will cater for these unemployed, these indigent, these pensioners until they get these things. But then, the proper way to eradicate hunger is to provide employment, is to provide jobs for people to do. Because when people have what they are doing, when people are meaningfully engaged, they would provide their basic needs. And once that is done, you would have not so much to bother with. But where that is not complete, like it's not likely to be, for those, instead of people to starve, we shall institute programs where we shall visit, you know, communities, provide aids, have government offices whose responsibility would be to attend to such social welfare programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Alex, what would you do to eradicate hunger when you come to office, if you become governor?
Well, I think a major part of the responsibility of a government is to deal with poverty and reduce hunger. Now, there have been arguments over whether poverty can be eradicated completely. The Bible says that the poor will always be with us. But then I think the issue is how many, what is the percentage of the people living in poverty? In Nigeria today, over 70% of our population live in poverty. And that has been also defined as people who are living on less than $1.90 per day. That's about 600 naira. But that, now coming back to hunger. Hunger is the one that I believe that governments, even as we are today, should be in a position to eradicate completely. But what we have seen in this place and elsewhere is that governments actually weaponize hunger. So they starve you, and then they release a little bit of it, and then have you clap for them, they release a little. Because at the end of the day, you will find that this Abia state, that where we are today,
what would you do to eradicate hunger?
Yes. What I would do to eradicate hunger, one, I will create jobs, like we have said earlier. When you create jobs, a lot of people would be able to find something to do. They will be busy. They will be able to earn equal days work, pay for equal days work. And of course, the next thing that I will do is to ensure that people are paid after they have worked. And that helps back to the economy again for me to generate internal revenue, because it's only people who are consuming that will keep the factories running, that will keep the businesses open, that would help you even attract foreign investment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Oga.
In addition to creating social benefits for the people, which is the easiest way for them to have food on their table, will ensure that one major thing that we have to encourage people to do is for everybody to go back to agriculture. I have been to so many countries. I found out in the remotest areas, in places like Thailand, you see old women farming in relationship with government, partnering with government. And once you partner with government in your farming, creating schemes. As a small boy, my grandmother, we used to have scheme agents from government visiting them in the villages. This makes sure that there are foods provided on the table. The first thing is food. At least you eat food. We know we have subsistence farming in this part of the world. First, we ensure that it's cut across everywhere so that people can put food on their table, empowering them to ensure they go into agriculture, empowering them to ensure that they start one or few things, and then using the social benefit to correct those that cannot farm.
Thank you. One last question. Not from the audience, but from me.
There's one question for me that I need to answer. Yeah.
Just hold it. You hold it. One last question, and that is, what is your program for health when you become governor? Madam.
Thank you. My program, health is wealth. A healthy man is a wealthy man. My program for health is to ensure that all primary health care hospitals, primary health care establishments are functional. Primary health care is the healthcare system that is closest to people, that treats and handles the smallest or the simplest of illnesses. So once we get that right, so people have access to health very close to them, they will treat malaria, they will treat diabetes, very basic things, cleanliness and all of that. You discover that there will be no need to go to primary, tertiary, because the problem would have nipped in the bud. So I will ensure that primary health system, primary healthcare system is very functional. You have the drugs, you have personnel well trained, you have the infrastructure that is good enough for people to come to and get the care. Thank you.
Dr. Alex Otti.
Thank you very much. Healthcare is so critical to our administration that it is a major pillar of our manifesto. We graduate from the very list hospitals that we intend to have 3, 1 in each senatorial zone. These hospitals are going to be well equipped, state-of-the-art technology, and we're going to ensure that we attract quality personnel from within and outside the country. And we're going to run it as a business, and we're going to ensure that the people we are attracting are properly compensated and they would love to live in Abia State. Today, the country spends over $1 billion on medical tourism. Our target is to attract 10% of that, and that would be $100 million.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Oga, your program on health.
If you look at my manifesto, first, look at the locals where we need the health centers. In most communities in Abia, there are no health centers. That is the first point of call. We make sure that in every community in this state, it doesn't cost much. I built one for my community. In fact, 2. So it doesn't cost much. You make sure that each community has a health center and you have a medical personnel deployed there. Secondly, we're going to have 3 standard best international practices hospitals, what are called the 3 senatorial zones, and then we're going to have 1 international with international partners in Umuahia. Like he said, today people go to India to go for medicals. Nothing stops us in Abia partnering with people building the best of the medical, putting a helipad in Umuahia, and people come here and they are treated, and we bring even the Indians and go to work in Abia, and then people go back to their home just here in Abia, so that things can change.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the governorship candidates, for your expositions. We cannot continue because our time is up. Our time is up. Our time is up. We cannot continue. One house. One house. One house.
All right, it is still flow.
Hold on, let's listen to the moderator first.
We can't continue because our time is up. We are on air live and our time is up. We cannot continue, but we must thank you for your patience. We must thank you for your input. The issue of pension has been taken note by the candidates, and I'm sure they are going to work on it. They have said in their opening speeches that they were going to ensure the payment of salaries and pensions. They said it here at the beginning. So we take that from them. We don't need to repeat that. So thank you indeed for participating, Mrs. Nwagba, Dr. Alex Otti, and Dr. Samson Oga. And thank you, the audience.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and have a wonderful day.
Juncture, I'd like you all to put your hands to good use. You can now clap for the candidates.
All right, it is still Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. And at this juncture, it is coming to an end right here at Mata Dei Cathedral Church, where the Abia Political Forum governorship candidates has just been done. And in the spirit of sportsmanship, the candidates are having a handshake right now. And well, Samson, it's been a long day, I will say.
Well, quite a long day it's been, Michael Oni. I tell you, the frankness, the sincerity, the openness, and the seriousness of all the candidates have said will be determined by the results of the election come March 2nd, 2019, when Abians go to the poll to determine and vote for who becomes their governor for the next 4 years. Well, it's been a beautiful and engaging interaction right here. And we have a colleague joining us, great Jonathan. You are an APC member, no doubt about that. What do you make of this kind of forum?
Well, it's a good one. This is an opportunity for all the candidates of the various political parties to tell Abians, a very unique audience, what they can do. And I can assure you that many of the things that have been said by our principal, Dr. Samson Oga, are not mere rhetorics. If you look at his manifesto, all of these things are clearly stated there, and he's ready to achieve them. They are not products of theory, they are product of research, put together by a team of Abia professionals who have done detailed work, who have known the angles. Like when he was talking, you could note that he was mentioning places, mentioning, the topography and how it reflects the economy he wants to build, talking about the new seaport that is coming, the ring road, the spaghetti bridge, the agricultural revolution. Dr. Samson Oga and the APC are ready to bring some of those things, and all of these and more, to bear in Abia State. I believe you can bear witness of that.
All right, thank you very much, great Imo Jonathan. Okay, standing here with us is the spokesperson or the media assistant to Dr. Alex Otti, the candidate of All Progressive Grand Alliance. Ferdinand, it's been a long day here. What do you make of this platform, this forum, where your principal and others have to tell Abians what they want to do?
Fantastic. Of course, course, the reactions of Abians, the number of people that trooped up to this place alone speaks volumes of the importance they attach to a program like this. A very lofty one, and you can see people excited, hearing from the candidates, hearing, from them to know exactly the programs they have or what they want to do as when they become governor. And it's very important because we've heard from them directly, not from their aides. For example, you listened to my principal, Dr. Alex Otti of APGA. You made reference to his manifesto, which is very rich. His manifesto was the first one that came out, and it was distributed to Abians. He didn't wait for to come to a debate before sharing them, and that tells you that he understands the importance of relating with the people, the importance of unfolding his program of action for the people to assess critically and be able to get back to him, ask critical questions. And of course, when he spoke, you could see that he was coming up with facts and statistics, making reference to statistics. The challenges confronting the states, came up with the statistics of the area of insecurity, in the area of agriculture, in the area of unemployment, and he told you critically the measures he's going to take to ensure that these challenges, these difficulties are effectively tackled.
Okay, Ferdinand, the talking point here is the absence of the incumbent governor, Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu.
Well, we didn't expect the governor to come, if you ask me, because our position is that the governor has performed very abysmally. Our position is that he has failed. And like Dr. Alex Otti will tell you, the PDP and Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu have no business presenting themselves for re-election because they've disappointed our people. And I'm sure the governor was afraid of what he was going to face here, the questions that are going to be put to him, and the fact that he was going to meet with our people face to face. And so that was the reason why he disappeared.
Well, that's entirely your opinion.
Well, the governor has been in power for 4 years. There's nothing new he's going to tell the Abia people. They have seen his performance, and you can judge for yourself. So there's no need waiting to listen to him before we can understand how much he can perform.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for following Flow 94.9 FM. This is where we're bringing to the end the live coverage of this interaction organized by the Catholic Church and then organized by the Catholic Church.
From it, I was surprised that he didn't come because the information available to me was that he was duly informed and he was going to be here. So maybe he had an issue or he traveled, or I'm not sure, but it really didn't affect the debate. If anything, I think he should have been here. So we regretted that he wasn't part of the debate. Thank you.
All right, we just heard the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Dr. Alex Otti, live. Well, we're about to take the interview of that of the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Uche Samson Oga. We're trying to approach him so that he can grant an interview live on radio. Well, it is still live here at Mata Dei Cathedral Church. Here, the Catholic diocese of Umuahia, and we just heard the Abia Political Forum. Well, we're live.
We want to know what you make of this platform entirely. Such an opportunity to talk to Abians.
It's a great opportunity for me to let Abians know that the future of this state is brighter than where we are today. There is a lot that we have in stock for the people of Abia. That come 2019 May, that Abians will have every reason to rejoice, because as soon as we hit government, we will activate all that we have promised Abians that we want to do. And that we will do, because we have already signed a social contract. Before today, we signed a social contract with the people of Abia that they are going to have a better Abia than ever experienced in the past.
There's another debate tomorrow. Would you be participating?
Unfortunately, my deputy governor is going to be there because I'm traveling right now. So my deputy governor is going to represent me. If I'm in town, I'll be there. I have asked them to shift it so that we all come. I would love, there's no problem in about debate, because it's an opportunity for you to sell yourself and let them know what you have in stock for them. So we are ready if it is for debate, but unfortunately, I'm traveling right now. Thank you.
There will be any negative impact as regards the absence of the incumbent governor?
No, see, sometimes you should understand there are emergency issues. Like now I'm traveling. It's not anything could happen. There's another one debate tomorrow. So the governor will be there. Since he's coming back today, he should be able to come and tell Abians what he has done for them and what he intends to do. Because it is that what he has. It's not that there's any negative impact. No. Maybe there was an emergency, and that was why he was unable to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You just heard the voice of the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress right here. We're trying to see if we can get across to the organizers of this particular event, and him right here, Reverend Father Samson Eze.
Yes, sir. We have with us here Reverend Father David Aguneri. He's the organizer of, he led the team that organized this wonderful event. Father, it's wonderful having you again on Flow FM right here.
Thank you.
Could you put us right? You said JDPC,
Justice, Development and Peace Caritas. Yes, it's not a political arm, but part of its job is politics. Okay. It is a household name that has so much to do about the welfare of the people. You know, the church is spiritual and also talks about human existence. So JDPC is an origin that talks about the welfare, the human welfare of people. So I will preach in the church about spiritual upbringing. Now, just talks about how can this person who is to be united to God spiritually also be sound in body and in mind.
Okay, one question before we let you go now. The governor's aides said that the invitation got to them very, very late, and that is why the governor is not here. How true is this?
Maybe there is a breach of communication between either the governor and his aides, but I know the information was sent to them as early as 14th of January when we decided to hold this on this day. So maybe I wouldn't blame him. You know, he's a very busy person, but I think that there's something that's a lack somewhere. The same medium with which we sent to other candidates, we also sent to him. So maybe there's something
in that debate come tomorrow. So just leave it here. We'll bring you up to speed with everything, and then guide you to vote wisely.
All right, a very big thank you to the crew, starting from the engineer Divine, and also finest Eric Samuel at the studio end, and also here is right here managing consultant Mr. Aloze Undulaka, and everybody for making this live transmission a success. Samson Eze.